Okay, so good morning everyone. I am Angeline Ichano and today I will discuss Carl Rogers and humanistic psychology. So humanistic psychology, humanism is one of the perspective in psychology which is a bit similar to philosophy because it has philosophical roots. So humanism emphasizes the active role of the individual in shaping their internal and external worlds. And one of the most important humanists would be Carl Rogers. Who is Carl Rogers? Carl Rogers is an American psychologist and is considered to be one of the founding fathers of psychotherapy, and he proposed the concept of self-theory. What does Carl Rogers has? Carl Rogers believed that the person is an active being who lives in the present. According to Rogers, we don't live in the past or we don't live in the future, but what's important is that we live in the present, because there are other theories who would emphasize the importance of the past. So Rogers is more likely bring us to the present. It's more likely to make us realize that we have choices even though we were thought of something. Rogers would emphasize that we have the capability to change. So Rogers coined the term actualizing tendency, or one's capability to reach his or her highest potential. So let's talk about his perspective. According to Rogers, there are three components of the self-concept, but before that, let us know what is self-concept. Self-concept refers to the image of oneself, or Carl Rogers defined the self as a flexible and changing perception of personal identity. Self develops from interaction with significant people and self-awareness, and it makes sense if you think of it because we can develop our sense of self when we interact with other people, like, ganun pala ako, ganito pala ako, and those are included as a factor on how we conceive ourselves. Okay, now I will discuss the three components of the self-concept: ideal self, self-image, and self-esteem. The first one is the ideal self. Who or what you want to be means that you have the capability of thinking. Say for example, I want to be a good educator, I want to be a good singer, I want to be a good writer, I want to be a good doctor. So that is my ideal self. Second is the self-image. How you see yourself or who you actually are. Not all the time our self-image will match with our ideal self. For example, what if my parents are forcing me to study a certain course but I don't really want to study that course? For example, what if my parents are telling me to become a doctor? They are trying to change my ideal self, but my real self says that I actually want to pursue a teaching profession. Okay, last component is self-esteem. How much you value yourself. So there's a lot of factors that will affect of self-esteem, including of how we compare ourselves to others and how others respond to us. How they would react to us. If a person who reacts to us positively, usually we develop positive self-esteem. On the other hand, when we compare ourselves to others and find ourselves lacking, it can have a negative impact on our self-esteem. Why did it happen? Say for example, you were walking down the street and suddenly your friend see you and they told you that you're so beautiful, anong skincare mo, sandhamis ka naman. So there's a big impact to you, like good mood ka in the entire day. On the other hand, if we compare ourselves to others and we feel like, ay, ang pointy ng nose niya, ay, ang pitit niya, and it has negative effects on our self-esteem. Okay, so let's talk about the congruence and incongruence. When we say congruence, it's alignment of the real self and the self-image. So if you or we are psychologically healthy, we will be able to know if our behavior is matching our ideal self, because there are other people who think that they are very generous, but they are not conscious that they are not. For example, they are behaving in a very negative way, but they think that they are very helpful. So we need to make people conscious about the incongruence. When there is incongruence, there is an inconsistency between who we are and what we want to be. Sometimes our ideal self may be unhealthy. That's why it's important to form a healthy ideal self, because sometimes our ideal self can be. So when we form our our ideal self, we have a lot of influences. Say, for example, what we see on the TV, what we read in the magazine, newspaper rather, what our parents or family relatives says the opinion of the people around us. That's why it's important for us to be aware of what are the healthy ideas and what are the unhealthy ones. Okay, so that's all. Thank you for being here today and taking the time to patiently listen to what I had to say. I wish you all a blessed day.